Hey guys, how we doing?
Yeah, not bad, man. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you guys from? UK, England. What part?
Bristol.
Do you know the
Bristol.
UK?
Of course. I used to live in Hertfordshire, 30 minutes north of
No
London.
way. No way.
That's it. Stevenage, the worst of the worst.
I'm
Dead
sorry
serious.
to hear that, man.
But it was a good experience. You guys were incredibly, literature friendly, and you guys were incredibly smart.
kind to say.
I loved it. I talk about celibacy and men's mental health on my channel, and I just wanted to just get a general opinion on what you guys think about men practicing celibacy.
Okay, yeah.
What do you think? Like, imagine your friend just comes out, and you guys are English, so you guys are used to like maybe every Friday going out, having a beer, partying, coming back home, next day, Saturday, do it again. What if one of your mates are like, listen, Kevin, I don't know your name. I want to sort of quit all this because I heard due to like some crazy person yelling on a YouTube channel that celibacy produces a whole bunch of benefits, and I have to like sort of go that route now.
Wait. You're talking about what kind of celibacy are you talking about?
Like so we call it semen retention, right? And it's just like you're not sleeping with anyone, you're not like looking at adult film
But you're
content.
not talking about booze.
No, not booze, not yet.
Because you were talking about drinking just then, so.
But that's I brought that up because that sort of is a type of lifestyle. It's like you drink, talk to girls, then you do your thing.
Yeah, okay,
well, depending on what circumstances.
So you're asking me if someone came up to me and was like, "Hey, I don't want to."
Like your friend, like that usually goes out with you every Friday, every Saturday. Listen, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm going to be placed in an environment where it might break this challenge that I'm undertaking. Because I'm trying to be celibate, Kevin. What do you think about this?
It's primal. It's like 10,000, 100,000 years of procreating, right?
Right.
It's pleasurable. It's good. We know the facts. It's good for mental health. We know it's good to relieve physical tension.
Okay.
I mean, if someone came to me, I wouldn't have an issue. I wouldn't be like.
No, it's your friend that you were hanging out with.
My friend, and he said, I want to be celibate. I don't give a flying fuck.
Right.
I don't care.
But then, months later, we're going to continue this hypothetical situation, right?
Yeah.
He talks about like these guys in history that have produced incredible results, like intellectual, things like Nikola Tesla, Isaac Newton, Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah.
All of these lads were celibate completely, and they are responsible for a lot of things, right? So he's like, I think that I could possibly be like one of these guys, Kevin. I don't know, man. I think I'm just gonna go a little deeper. I'm gonna be sober now. Right? No drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. What do you think, Kev?
I
don't know if your name is Kevin.
My name is not Kevin. My name's not Kevin.
Right, got it.
I would be more accepting of that than sex.
Right.
I'd be more like, cool, yeah. I've got lots of friends that are teetotal. Yeah, that's.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. How are their lives? How are their?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Has it changed? I don't know. I feel like being celibate sort of like in this modern day and age, of course, with the inundation of just, OnlyFans and just a culture that sort of perpetuates like, sexual pleasure or sexual licentiousness. It's almost as if you're being canceled. It's like it ruins your social life. It sort of ruins your friendships. So
I mean,
how have they been? Like you said that you have friends that have been celibate?
Yeah, I don't know people who are sexually celibate.
So what's the other celibacy that you're talking about?
Well, you're just talking about booze then. They wanted to go sober, right?
No, I was talking about just celibate as in like
no.
Yeah.
I know people that have teetotaled booze and drugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who's not having sex.
Really? Okay.
Nah.
Why do you think that is? Because you did say something about it being primal, right? It's like a primordial urge.
And also, I have friends that maybe are asexual.
Okay, but that's just chronic.
That's just an attraction thing. I don't know. Do you know anyone who's? No, you don't. I just don't think it's something that's very
right.
common. I don't know why I wouldn't look into. There's a great book by an author called Anthony Storr called Solitude, who talks exactly about this thing. He talks about how isolation and being alone can contribute to intellectual
development.
Yeah, in a way. But he goes through both arguments. The book is him basically pushing the idea that to be a great artist, you have to be
accepting of solitude. Right. No distractions of the outside world.
But then he also, the flip side of that is, because you're talking about great scientists like. Right,
Nikola Tesla, whose systems we're still using to this day.
But then a lot of people that, there's been throughout history, there's a lot of people who have been celibate involuntary celibate, and they led incredibly lonely lives. And
True.
And these people are now dead. Tesla's dead. Newton's dead.
Naturally.
We don't know how happy these people are. Or how happy they were.
But maybe it's not necessarily chasing happiness insofar, but maybe there is an appraisal of the state of things, like in their world, that they believe that due to them taking on this practice would, alleviate a lot of the ails of the general man. Like they were a little peculiar, and they sort of went into these.
To say the least.
Right. They went into like these things, and then they just continued with it, right? And then they just happened to produce great works. You also said something about solitude. You were referencing a book, and then you're saying, like, in order to be like an artist, you have to lock yourself in a room.
That's the kind of argument he makes.
So I was saying this. How about viewing celibacy as the same thing, except in like you're sort of not letting it, you're like sort of keeping your spirit in solitude, right? Or keeping yourself in like solitude, right? Like not literally, but you're not letting your vitamins go out, like however that works. And then you're allowing it to like sort of percolate in your brain. It gives you wellness. It makes you a little smarter, it widens your perception, makes you stronger. And
but I guess you wouldn't know until you tried it, right?
There it is.
But then I don't know anyone who wants to, because I don't think they.
Do you think that it's an ignorance on what the benefits that celibacy can bring to an individual? Do you think that might be it?
I don't know if it's an ignorance, because
there are benefits. There's one study of it, because I talk about it on the channel. There's one study of someone for a week. Someone was celibate. A man, obviously. And his testosterone levels like doubled.
Well, that makes sense, because you're producing
the release of those,
and you're not releasing. So that doesn't make sense.
So how about if you prolong that, right?
For how long?
For as long as you have better wellness, you get smarter, you get more testosterone, you're lifting more at the gym. You're lifting at the gym, which is probably unheard of, like in your in your past life before you were being celibate, and you just keep going. You just keep going, right? What if people understand like those kinds of benefits and sort of move into celibacy en masse, like men? What do you think? Do you think that's kind of a crazy thing, a sort of radical?
I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's radical, but I think there would have to be big amounts of evidence and studies undertaken by other people for it to become.
So anecdotal evidence won't be enough. You need peer-backed studies.
And also I'm about to reference this country here. You're like saying, oh, do this thing that might be good. It's like, we know that guns kill people, but we try to take guns away from. People have tried to take guns away from Americans, and they're like, we want our guns, but there's factual evidence that. So if you're talking about anecdotal, if it's just an idea and it's just people going, look, there's not a huge amount of, but in those studies it does show this. It's like, it's going to be difficult, and en masse as well. So you're talking about huge swathes of people.
Yeah,
that's, I don't know, man.
What if, like, so on my channel, I'm sorry, I'm keeping you here. I'm sorry. We have like. So I'm a man that I've read a lot of religious texts, right? I grew up Roman Catholic. I read the Bible. I've read, afterwards I started getting into the Bhagavad Gita, which is like talking about Krishna and whatnot. Then I got into Buddhism. I did Zoroastrianism for a little bit just to check it out. And a lot of these texts, even though they don't necessarily agree with a lot of the micro stuff. One thing that a lot of these religious texts all spoke about was the power that celibacy brings to a man, right? Control over his life, mental benefits, physical benefits, and just sort of an understanding about like the ebbs and flows of emotion that a man will go through in life. That's the one thing they all got, in common, which is kind of wild, right? Because they're all from like different times and different cultures. Do you think that speaking about celibacy to the public with a religious backing instead of just like, peer-backed studies would help to persuade people or dissuade people from their, how they've been living their life prior to that? What do you think?
I think it would dissuade.
I think so. People are just not fond of, zealous individuals yelling back.
Well, no, and also, if you're talking science,
right,
everyone can relate to science in some regard.
Right.
Whereas if you start talking about religion and religious-backed studies, you've just alienated over 50% of your. The UK in the last 30, 40 years has become a predominantly atheist country. So we're seeing a collapse in religion. And so if you came to people saying, oh, this thing that's led with tying in some religious ideology, people are going to go, no.
Do you think that, okay, we're getting a little sidetracked now, because I'm about to bring up, do you think that that's an economic reason? There's an economic reason behind that?
No, because religion's outdated, and we know because it creates systems of inequality, and I mean, man, I could be here for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I know.
I'm very atheist, so...
Are you? Okay.
Yeah. You're talking about, all of the good things that have come out of religion existed before religion, and all of the good things that have come out of religion are going to exist long after religion. Okay?
Right.
All of the bad things that have happened because of religion are going to they're sticking around, and it's nasty. And some of the things that have gone down in history, and some of the major collapses of empires have been because of religion. I think as soon as you say this is religiously based,
that's it. Yeah. You lost. I lost the audience.
Yeah. You'd lose me. I'd be like, nah, I'm all good. I don't like...
What if you saw personal success in my life? You saw an evolution, an upswing of financial success, emotional, well-being,
because this harks back to what you're saying about
equilibrium,
going to the gym. You're talking about people being more successful. Maybe no one wants that.
And people are fine with being stagnant.
I don't care about having to lift more in the gym. I used to be hugely into the gym. I used to go all the time. I played rugby for years.
How's that?
I realised that there's more to life than lifting up really heavy objects inside of a sweaty room. And actually, I enjoy so much more of life now that I'm not focused on how I look or am perceived physically.
Right.
Financially, I don't care. I don't have a lot of money, and I don't care about having a lot of money. So, if people want these things and they believe that celibacy will help with that, then they can do that. But I don't.
Personally,
I don't want any of those things.
You come to a place where you're fine. You're content.
Well, I'm content, and the things that I want, I know, are very achievable for me through my own determination, and not through having to sacrifice something that I really enjoy. I love having sex. I love drugs. I love alcohol. They're all part of a balance of my life, and I know how it ties into that balance. If someone doesn't understand that balance, and they need to find that equilibrium, and celibacy helps them with that, then that's great. I'm all for that.
I think that you are an anomaly. I think that you're incredibly unique.
I think I'm British, maybe.
Because generally, it's we're currently in a time where young men have felt much more disconnected than ever.
Yeah.
Right. They feel like they don't have a lot of what's going on? No, it's all good. Yeah, he looked right at it. We're in a place where right now in time, men have felt completely disconnected. We have less friends. A lot of us are not graduating college. We're not sticking to college. We're not keeping our jobs. A lot of us are getting on medications. A lot of us have problems with substance abuse, and this is a growing number. And also, in addition to that, apparently we are becoming more and more infertile. On the channel, and I come upon a news article that I was analyzing, and it was talking about how the growing rate of infertility in men, and how compounding it is year after year after year. Yeah. And I of course, I promote celibacy on the channel in order to, as some sort of, not panacea, some all-around cure, but to sort of try to, be a little bit aware of what's going on with yourself. Why you feel depressed, why you feel like this, and try to turn that around. So, do you think, in the midst of this scourge that's befallen mostly men between 18 and 35 years, do you think that celibacy can fix that?
I don't think it can fix that, no. I think it could maybe be part of a solution for a minority of that group, but I don't think it could fix it. No, absolutely.
You don't? Why not? Why not? This is interesting.
For the same reason that imperialism doesn't fix anything, for the same reason money doesn't fix anything, for the same reason being physically fit. Well, if it did, then why are we experiencing poverty to levels that...
Because the individuals with money are incredibly greedy and avaricious.
Exactly.
That is the issue. That's the issue, and they're in power.
Exactly.
But that's a different
But they
issue.
also have lots of money. So like money doesn't fix everything. We know it doesn't. Community, communication, love, a lot of these things
Right.
are proven and have done for hundreds of thousands of years. Money is fabricated.
What causes a lot of these issues in young men is this issue of anxiety. There's been a lot more over-the-counter drugs that sort of satiates anxiety for a little bit. That's been distributed a lot lately for men and women. And celibacy, you know, with the boost of testosterone, with the influx of testosterone that celibacy brings, you sort of carve through that whole anxious cloud that a lot of us go through. Like, at least with me, a year ago, before I'll tell you my personal story. Before a year ago, I wasn't celibate at all. But then I just sort of decided to try it, just see what happened. I was traveling before and I had somewhat of a good life, but I felt like unfulfilled. So I tried doing this, and it's nuts. I've been doing this for a year. I haven't slept with anyone. I haven't masturbated. It's been nuts. And I think a year ago, I would definitely not have probably stopped you yelling about celibacy or yelling about any other topic for that matter. And I think that the testosterone influx sort of helped with carving through that anxiety that a lot of men and people in general feel.
But you're saying men and people in general feel, but it worked for you in the same way that there are functioning heroin addicts.
True.
That on Wall Street.
To some degree, but the system is still bad though. You know what I mean? They're not running it effectively. They're just, making sure there's no burst in the pipe.
But
they're not necessarily creating a better irrigation system.
The flip side to what you're saying is like, I've had these moments where I felt incredibly lonely or anxious, maybe depressed in some way or another. And I have had a partner, or I've had someone that I've been seeing, and through that intimacy and that shared romance and love, it has given me, I felt amazing afterwards.
But that's a biological thing. That naturally there'll be chemicals released during cuddling and during
so celibacy there'll probably be a biological reason that testosterone rises, right?
Right.
So at a biological level, there'll be a good reason for it. But biologically, no one is the same. We're all different. So it won't work for everyone.
We got a lot of information, man. We just met these two lads from the UK, right? And one of them just really broke it down, right? Celibacy, we can't walk around, preaching the idea of celibacy like we're some sort of cult, blanket-wearing cultists that are just on a crusade to try to convert the world into, hold it in their, their special essence, right? But I think that we got to do it now more than ever. We are in a very, very fallen society, and I think that we need to just keep pushing this, right? Granted, they're gonna, these guys said, they're gonna be people that are gonna be very, very, very reluctant. But I think that's all the more reason to push it. You know what I mean? I think that we have to do this. We have to do. If anything, what I got from the interview is that we need to bolster our efforts. We need to pack on more artillery. We need to find different angles of persuasion. He said something about something that's coming out from that has a religious backing is not going to necessarily fly because people are becoming more and more averse to religion, right? That means that we have to come from a different angle. I think one thing that was able to appeal to the masses for a very, very long period of time is emotion, zeal, right? Passion. Of course, grounded in reality. So what we're going to do is we're going to rebolster our efforts, man. I'm not scared. We got to keep doing. We got to keep going. Let's see if we can interview one more person before we get the hell out of here, shall we?